Hello, and welcome to a video on using our mapping software for shoe swap search and rescue. The mapping software that we are using is called SAR Topo. It also goes by the name of Cal Topo. Both names are equivalent, and I will interchange them back and forth, so don't let that confuse you. SAR Topo is now the same as Cal Topo. This software is used by search and rescue professionals as well as by recreationalists. When you first start using SAR Topo, you can sign up now if you like, or you can wait till you get an invite to the team account. Either way, when you do sign up, SAR Topo is going to ask you to log in using one of the credentials for one of your other platform logins. So whether it be Yahoo or Google or Facebook, you can just log in with your credentials for that platform. Now, the reason that SAR Topo does that is it just offloads all the overhead of login security and so forth to some other body. So it just saves them a lot of time. Once you do pick one of these formats to log in, you must use the same one every time. So when you first sign into our team account, if you sign in using your Google login, you will not be able to get in with the same account with your Yahoo login. So just remember which one you use to log in with. When you do get into SAR Topo, using SAR Topo on your computer has some advantages. It's a lot easier to use than using it on your mobile device. However, the mobile device is what you will be using, obviously, in the field. And so you need to know them both. And when you finally get into SAR Topo, you can pick some maps that are already have been done up by the team, or you can start creating your own maps. And all the maps are kept in the cloud. Again, this is a cloud-based mapping system, but it does have a offline desktop functionality, so we can continue to do our mapping even if we don't have internet coverage. If you click on the Your Data button on the top right, it will bring a list of all the maps. So these are all my personal maps that I've done up over the past while, but you also have access to all the shoe swap search and rescue maps. We create a map for each and every task that we do. And so each one of these will be a map of the items that are related to that one task. We also have some template maps in here for all of the spots that would be important for our winter mountain response tasks, and all the important points on the Shuswap Lake, so the boat launches and the different parks, that sort of thing. I also have a map that I use when I'm off in the wilderness by myself, and we can use the SAR Solo map. If I track myself on that map when I'm out biking or something, then other people in the team can actually track me from their home or from their mobile device by bringing up that map. So I'm going to start by bringing up this winter mountain response map, and it's going to be fairly busy because there are a lot of items that are on the map, but I'm going to zoom in to make it a little bit less busy for us. Okay, so this is one of our popular ski and snowmobile areas called the Gorge. And on this map, we have a lot of different items that are showing up on the map itself. But over in the left-hand column is a listing of all the items that are on the map. Now, all these items are referred to as map objects, and that's what makes up the SAR Topo map. We can actually save all those items as a separate file and put them onto different maps, or even export them into Google Earth and other formats. Once I have the map up, we tend to organize things into different folders on this map object, just so we can keep things clean, and I can make the whole folders disappear on the map, just so that, so if I unclick Queest, all those items for Mount Queest disappear, and if I click back on Queest, they all come back. So what we have on the map is the avalanche terrain exposure scales, the little black areas, challenging areas, and the simple areas. And we also have access route. That's this yellow line coming in here. And then we have some important waypoints. So different car parks at 12, 15, and 17K. And then a couple of the spots in the ski area itself, such as Happy Valley and so forth. And there's also some of the important points for the sledders, such as the Queest Chalet or cabin. So that's the map. If we wanted to add a new marker onto this map, it would be easy to do so if you can visually see where the location is on the map. So if we want to add a mark or a waypoint for the car park at the 0 kilometer on the Gorge Forest Service Road, we can do a right click on our map at the appropriate location, add a marker, and then we just give it a label. So in this case, I'm just going to call it car park. And we can change the style of little icon that is going to show on the map. So we'll make it into a little Jeep, and we can change its color to whatever we like. And so that item appears on the map. It also will appear over here on the left column under our map objects. Now, if it turns out that I've put this in the wrong location, I can do a left click on the item itself, find it on my list, and edit it. And once I'm in the edit mode, I can grab that guy and I can move him to a more appropriate location and say OK. That's one way of adding an item onto the map. And the other way is just to click on this Add button on the top left-hand corner, add a marker or line, whatever it is we want to add. And it's going to put it in the center of the map. I can move it to a location that I want, or I can come down to the coordinates area here, and I can enter new GPS coordinates, and that will automatically move that icon to the proper location on the map. I would give it a name, and I can change the symbol so that it appears differently on the map. And I can change a color if I want, and there we are. And similarly, I can add lines on the map. So if I had walked up this creek drainage here and wanted to mark that on the map where I had walked, I can click on the word line. If I hold my shift key down, I can trace, and sometimes this is a bit messy, but I can trace my way along that line. I can let go of the shift key, and then I can just click, click, click along that line if I like. If I hold my left key down, then I can actually pan the map and continue on up. Once I've got it to where I've finished my line, I can give it a name. I can change the color. And if I want to put a directional arrows on the line, so I know what direction I was actually traveling, I can do that and say OK. And there's my line showing up on my map. So that's how I add items onto the map. There's a lot of other types of items we can add later on, things that would be done by the search manager, such as adding polygons for a search area. If I wanted to have a team go out and search a polygon in this area here, I can very simply add a polygon. Like that, and it's done. There's my search area. And so you can play around with adding different types of items onto the map. And if you want to organize all these map objects in the left-hand column, you can add new folders and to help you do that organization. If you are playing around in SAR Topo, please do not change or add to any of the SAR Shuswap volunteer maps. because that will be a permanent change to those maps, and we will not be able to reverse those changes. So leave these maps or changes on these maps up to the ICS staff and the managers in the command center. But please feel free to create any of your own maps and change any of your own maps. Like that's will not affect any of the Shuswap search and rescue maps at all. You can do whatever you want with your own. Over on the right column is the areas where you can change the base layers. The base layer is what looks to you and I what we'd normally call a map. So this is a topographical map, but if you would rather it be a global image, so a Google Earth type image, you can select that up in the top right, and there is a Google Earth image. And you can change them back and forth if you like. If you'd like to have both maps up at the same time, you can stack the base layers, and you can pick the global image. And once you've done that, and you have a slider on your second base layer, and you can change the density of that satellite image in this case, and you can make it more prominent, or you can make it disappear just by moving this slider in the top right corner back and forth. And this is something that you can do early on just to help get some situational awareness of what the landscape really looks like, depending on how good you are at reading a topographical map. Being able to have this function will be able to, just give you more awareness. Another thing that would be handy for some of you, if you're out in the backcountry, especially if you're skiing, if you want to know how steep the slopes are, and you can see I made all those items disappear on the map just to make this next stage a little bit more clear to you. On the right-hand column, if you click on slope angle shading, there you go. So there's a legend in the bottom that tells you the degrees of slope that correspond to each color. And then if you zoom in and out, you can see the contour lines. So if you're really good at reading contour lines, then this slope angle shading isn't as useful necessarily. But for those of us that are new reading topographical maps, it certainly makes it quite apparent as to where the easier terrain is and where the steeper terrain is. So that's slope angle shading. And I'm just going to unclick that. And then go back over to this folder for Queese Mountain and click in front of it just to bring all those map objects back into view. Okay, so that is using SAR Topo. A couple other functions. If you want to print a map, you can use this function here. When it says print, what it actually is going to do is save the map to a PDF. And then once you have the PDF up, that will be saved in the cloud, which you can then share with people, or you can actually print a hard copy from the PDF. One item that would be quite useful to a lot of people is this measuring tool here. And with this measuring tool, you can measure distances, bearings, a number of things. And so if we select on distance and we want to measure the distance along the road from one spot to another, you just click along it until you reach the final destination and double click, and it tells you what that distance is. So a really handy tool, and this is available on the mobile app as well. Really handy tool to be able to measure distances. And again, hit on the ruler, measure a distance on a line, and you can do a straight line, or you can follow with multiple clicks. You can follow the curvy road and gives you a distance. Okay, and I think that is a lot of the basic functions for SAR Topo. So to say, feel free to create your own maps and do any changes that you want. Please don't change any of the items on the search and rescue maps. You can feel free to go ahead and view these maps if you like. Just don't make any changes on them. Okay, happy mapping.